throw the chat over here as well so that it's there. All right, so I'm going to show you the Canvas homepage right on. Ooh, there's a reset. Let's go right to your class, 20F. And let's go ahead and go to the Canvas homepage. All right, so this is your Canvas homepage, okay? If you guys want to join from home, and just so you guys know, your class is from 10 to 11:45, all right? So don't try to log in at 8 a.m. because I won't be there, all right? So if you want to join, the big Zoom button that says to join class virtually, you click that. BibliU access, that is your textbook, okay? If you click on that, it'll bring you to the IT website to show you step-by-step of what you guys need to do to go through that. If you have issues with that, let me know, bring your computer in, and I'll go ahead and help you, okay? As much as I can. The third one says where the location of this classroom is. So if you click on it, this is done through Google Earth. So if you guys look at this, you see that my classroom is right here, not on the roof, but underneath the roof in the first floor, okay? Building M is where all the adaptive services, advising, bookstore, bursars, financial aid, registrars, testing center is all in Building M. If you're looking for the tutoring center, the math center is in the library, which is Building G. So all of your support services, right, in terms of English tutoring, math tutoring is in there, and also the library. My actual office is F104. Chances are you're going to find me here instead, because on Tuesday to Thursdays, I teach from 10 a.m. all the way to 5 p.m. So if you're going to look for me, chances are I'm going to be here, okay? All my office hours is via Zoom, so same thing. You just let me know, hey, I need some help, and I'm going to say, all right, jump into Zoom, and you'll go back to the home page and hit Zoom, and you'll get to me, okay? And then the IT help desk. So IT help desk is in Building A. So if you were to walk out these doors right here, right? There's a staircase on your right-hand side, is that right? So along the staircase and the bushes and the building, it makes a little triangle. If you look through the triangle, you'll see a door from far, far away. Well, not that far, but probably like 100 steps. You're going to see a door with an A on it. Those are the doors that gets to Building A. You literally will see it right through here, right to that. You'll be like, oh, there's Building A. Why am I bringing up the IT department? The IT help desk helps you with a lot of things that you guys might need. Number one, your Wi-Fi, okay? If you're going to join Wi-Fi on this campus, you should join the Florida Southwestern State College Wi-Fi, okay? Don't try to join the guest because then you got to keep on registering. And the issue with that Wi-Fi is that it's about bandwidth, okay? Think of 75 if it went down to 2 lanes. That's your guest Wi-Fi. A lot more crowded, a lot slower. And if you don't pay attention, someone's going to pull out in front of you, and you're going to be like, crap, right? Same exact idea. So if you stop using it, someone gets in, you got to re-register, redo everything, and then get back in again. Florida Southwestern State College is like taking the 75 and putting it into 20 lanes. A lot faster. Still people are going to cut in front of you. There's still going to be people that are driving 40 in the 70, and still people driving 100 in the 70, right? So some are going to be faster. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit slower. It happens depending on which lane you go, okay? And if you can't get into Florida Southwestern State College, chances are your password has some personal information on it. Like if my password was Jimmy Chan 1974, chances are they're going to be like, can't use that. Okay. Which means that you might have to change your password in order to get to that Wi-Fi. Okay? And the reason why is because based on that password, if they use your personal information and get into your Wi-Fi or get into your computer, now they can steal college information. That's why they're doing it. That's why you guys are also doing an MFA, which is the double, two-factor authentication, okay? So the IT department will help with that. Even though I have a laptop, you're like, man, I really wish I had a laptop I can use all semester. You can rent one there. For the people at home, if you guys don't have a webcam, an external webcam. Do I have one? I do. If you don't have one of, hey, I'm over here. If you don't have one of these, you will not be able to take your exams at home. Now, as of last semester, they were giving them to you. You just got to bring your student ID. They verify. They might not have one sitting around, so they got to call Lee, and Lee will send one down here, Fort Myers campus, and send one down here. So it might take a few days. So make sure that if you guys need something like that, do that. I'm not sure if they're going to, this semester, rent them or give them. So don't quote me on that. I didn't check with Ford, okay? So, but that would be where you would go. So there's a lot of benefits there, all right? Third thing, how to take exams remotely. If you decide to take your exams at home, it would be through a program called Class, but we'll talk about that down the road. You got to be able to set up one of these ways here. And notice that what I can see in these pictures is that, number one, you have to have a whiteboard. I got to be able to see your computer screen, your keyboard, your calculator, all that type of stuff. Okay? All those have to happen, aka side view. So make sure that you kind of go through this in terms of how to schedule the exam, which we're going to take it at the same time. Okay, so you're still going to take it that day at 10 a.m. for your class. Okay. Some of the things that you need: workspace setup, external webcam, what needs to happen during the exam, and so on and so forth. Okay. The fifth thing is Florida Southwestern State College, meaning the Wi-Fi. Since you see the Wi-Fi symbol there, same thing. It will give you directions on how to connect to Florida Southwestern State College. The reason why I would tell you to go to IT if you need help is because they have other computers there that you can just go right in, change your password, they make sure you're connected, done. You're good to go. Okay? And then the 3 truths. Nobody asked for this, but I'm going to throw it out there anyways. The 3 truths is what I ask, and I will be asking you guys the same thing at the end of the semester. Any students that want to share their 3 suggestions that they want to give to my next set of students on what to do in this class to be successful in this class. On the top, I give you my 3 truths. What I think you guys need to do to be successful is in bold. Everything else afterwards is all from past students. Okay? So you'll see CASCC, Bella K. They are giving the 3 truths. At the end of the semester, I'll ask you guys if you guys feel comfortable doing it. Just send it to me through Canvas, and I'll post them. So you guys don't need access to this because I can see it getting very ugly if I give you access to this. Because you guys would just start, I don't know what you guys would do. So let's just not do that. So just send it to me, and these will go. And it's 5 pages. Okay? So you guys are welcome to visit that anytime you guys want to. Okay? Now, the number one thing that you guys should be doing is attendance verification. It's right there. Some suggestions on apps to download, and a grade calculator. Grade calculator won't be in effect until after exam 2. Okay? I've created these for after exam 2, after exam 3, after exam 4. The one after exam 4 is to see what you need to get on your final exam to get the grade that you want. After exam 2 is what you need to average on exam 3, exam 4, and the final exam to get the grade that you want. So you have constant goals that you're going to look at. okay? So, with that being said, I'm kind of nervous I'm doing this right now. So, if I hit apps to download, it gives you a bunch of apps. So for the ones that don't have a calculator yet, I'm going to let you know that there is a free one that you guys can just download on your App Store or Google Store or whatever the Google, does Google call it Google Store? What does Google call it? Is it just the Google Store? We'll just call it the Google Store. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's the Desmos test mode. It's the one with the blue banner. It should look like this. And I would tell you to download it in the next couple of days. So when you come back on Monday, it should already be downloaded on your phone, and you know how to use it. Okay? The other app is called Remind. Download that app. Why? Because Remind isn't about me reminding you of anything. I'm not going to go on there and go, don't forget, assignment 1 and 2 tonight. I'm not that guy. Anything that I send you is going to be important. I'm not going to send you a bunch of gibberish. All right? Because number one of the number one rules I have in this class is that you guys want to be treated as adults, even though if you're not. So I am going to treat you like adults. What does that mean, though? It means that every choice that you make, you live with the consequences of it. You make good choices, good consequences. Make bad choices, bad consequences. The only thing I ask in return is don't blame me if it's not my fault that you failed this class. And what else does that mean? It means that if you decide to zoom in, although there's still standards, and you just want to do other assignments and mute me, and you don't hear a thing, you're like, I'm just in class. You made that choice. I'm not going to be like, Susie Q, what do you think? I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to try to call you out or anything like that. Either want to come to class, don't come to class. Either want to take notes, don't take notes. Either want to do homework, don't do homework. It's okay. Again, bad choices, bad consequences. Fair? Okay? So all the Remind app is doing is this. As I'm writing notes, I know that sometimes I speak fast. Feel free to tell me to slow down. But if you're writing and you want to write a little bit neater, certainly can do that. However, as I'm writing, you're like, whoa, time out. I know you're continuing on. Can you take a picture of that piece of note? Instead of you taking your phone out and then clicking on the notes, right? Because you guys would be back there trying to take a screenshot here. Great. Go for it if you really want to do that. But you can always say, hey, can you throw that example on Remind? I'll take a screenshot, send it right to Remind. Everybody in class will have that set of notes. Okay? Because you taking a screenshot of the overhead, guess what? Now you got to scroll through their 50 selfies to get to that note. Now you don't have to have my notes interrupting your selfies, all right? Just keep your selfies the way they are, and then go to Remind, and then you can see your notes, all right? Zoom, in case you want to zoom in. OneDrive, I love OneDrive because you can use that as a scanner, although with scanners, there's two other ones. Why do you guys like Cam Scanner? I have no idea. I'll tell you this, OneDrive has no ads that pop up. Okay? These three apps for scanning are all free. But OneDrive, because you're FSW students, you have free cloud storage. You scan it, it's in the cloud. You have access to it. From your portal, on your computer, from your phone, and anytime you need it, you pull it out. It's done. Okay? Now, down here, I have several AI tools, Notebook LM, ChatGPT, SciSpace. Boodlebox is going to come about in a little bit in Claude. I'm a big fan of ChatGPT. I'm a big fan of Notebook LM. So feel free to use any of those. And you're going, wouldn't that be cheating? Yes. Don't worry. I have safeguards around those things, and you guys will understand why. Okay? So Notebook LM, if you guys haven't used it, haven't heard of it, Notebook LM is an AI that is only done based on how you train it. And the reason, and everything that I do in this class is something that you can carry on to other classes. No matter if it's study habits, no matter if it's AI that I'm asking you guys to use, it carries to other classes. So let's say you're taking A&P, okay? You get a bunch of slides. You take those slides, convert it to PDF, down to Notebook LM. It'll create a study guide for you. It'll create, you can ask it any question you want. Like you're unsure, you type it in, and answer comes out. Okay? And I'm going to actually suggest this to you guys to use Notebook LM, and I'm going to give you 2 documents to upload, and you can ask it any questions you want. This way, you're like, hey, what's his grading policy? Hey, when is exam 1? Hey, when is exam 2? You could do that if you want to. It's already posted in Canvas, but you can now ask it. So you can start Notebook LM, download these 2 documents, title it Chan's 1033 class. Okay? It will save it, and then you can start a new Notebook LM for A&P or whatever. And then when you go, hey, I got a question about Chan's class, you click on Chan's class, you type it in, boom, it's done. Okay? So, which, again, is going to prompt you in week 1 and week 2 for you to do that. I think just week 1, not even week 2. All right? Now, cool part about Notebook LM. And the reason why I came this route and why I'm scared about is this audio syllabus. So people at home, let me know if you guys can actually hear this. So Notebook LM doesn't just give you the study guide, not just that you can ask questions, but guess what else you guys can do? You can create a podcast. What you're about to hear is 2 AI voices. One's male, one's female, talking about those 2 documents. Can you guys at home hear this? Yes? Okay.
T1 third grade.
At Florida Southwestern State College.
That's right.
We've got the syllabus right here and
And we also have some tips from students.
from past students.
Think of us as your study buddies to help you ace this class.
Yeah, and you have options with this class. You can attend
In person.
or via Zoom.
Live flex.
It's called LiveFlex. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So, okay, let's.
Look at this grading system.
Yes.
We have exams.
We have a final exam.
My lab and mastering assignments.
Oh, and lab works.
Yes.
What are lab works? We'll get into that.
We will.
But first, let's.
Notice something right off the bat.
Yeah.
Exams.
60% of your final grade.
Wow.
The final's another 20%.
So 80
80% right there.
between those 2 things.
Just the tests.
So those tests are super important.
Consistent effort throughout the semester is key.
Yeah, don't cram.
Don't cram. Now those, my lab and mastering assignments.
10%.
Okay.
Submitted through Access Pearson.
Right. And lab works.
Also 10%.
Another 10% submitted through Canvas.
Yes.
Okay. So those might seem small, but
They add up.
don't sleep on those.
Important.
Okay. And speaking of technology,
Yes. Let's talk about Desmos test mode.
what is Desmos test mode?
So basically, you're going to need to download the Desmos graphic
Wait a minute, but isn't that
calculator
208?
on your phone.
Is there
Okay.
more?
But for exams, you have to put it in a special mode called test mode, and it locks down the
Interesting.
calculator.
So you can't like Google the answer.
Let's
or
try.
anything?
You cannot know airplane mode,
Oh wow.
Wi-Fi off,
This is serious.
no other devices around.
Oh really?
Yeah, and they check the timer on it
Wait, they check the time.
at the end of the exam.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen this before? This class before?
Yes.
Okay. Speaking of rules,
Click on it. Let's see.
let's talk about those remote exams.
Yes.
It's so cool that you have the option
That is cool.
to take your exams from home.
But there are rules.
But yes, there are even more rules.
It's all about academic integrity, right? Level playing field.
They're just weekly assignments with a little twist.
Okay, what's the twist?
They want you to really understand the why behind the how.
So like how I got the answer,
Exactly.
not just the answer.
Not just the answer.
Okay.
So there are 3 main criteria. What we know.
What we know, what does that even mean?
This is where you outline
Okay.
the general steps for
Okay.
solving a problem.
So not like the actual steps
Yeah.
for the problem,
No, no, no.
but the steps for like any problem.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And then work understanding and mathematical accuracy.
Okay, so show my work and make sure it's right.
Yes. But also show that you understand each step. And then the last one is plenty of scan and handwriting.
So make sure it's readable.
Yes, make sure your professor.
Yeah, those blurry eyed pictures are not gonna cut it.
Not at all.
I'm guilty of that.
Single step.
Single medium, got it.
So basically with these lab works,
Yeah.
you're showing you understand.
Yeah.
And that you're putting in the effort.
Right, not just like copying it in.
Exactly.
Okay, I think I got it.
You got it.
All right, so are we ready for some students?
So any questions so far in terms of what it's been saying? Are we concerned about the lab work? Or are we more concerned about the 80% of exams? We're concerned about that, aren't we? Okay. So one of you guys asked about study guides. Don't worry. Study guides are there. I don't know if you read my 3 truths or not. But my 3 truths, one of the things is saying rewrite your notes, condense your notes, and create the best cheat sheet ever that you're never going to use. I would tell you that after class, if you don't have another class, to take the time, even 10 minutes or so, and condense your notes. What are the key points that was talked about today? Right? What are the key formulas that I really need to remember? What are the key steps I need to remember? Right? Condense those notes. Because based on research, and that's when I use an AI called SciSpace to do that. SciSpace is, I think I just read, it was like, shoot, I can't remember what the number was, but it's millions and millions of research papers. So it's based on all research papers. So I would ask it, and based on the 2 documents that I'm about to give you, that research is already there. So if you want to look in that research, you're welcome to. But basically, rewriting your notes helps with recall and recollection, and remembering all the material that you need to remember. So after you condense those notes, then you're going to create the best cheat sheet ever. Like a little study guide. So I was an engineer major. Never graduated engineering, by the way, but engineer major. So please don't think I'm smart by any means. My success in college was 2 things. 1, study group. I had 3 other people, and those 3 other people were very, very, very different from me. Like, literally, it was like the United Nations of the social circles, right? It was just variety. Their perspectives on problems were way different from mine, but because of that different perspective, made me understand better. Okay? Second, was it my ability to use a cheat sheet? But you're like, wait a minute, but we can't use it. You're right. Because bottom line is, every cheat sheet I made, I never used. Because my focus of trying to squeeze more information into that cheat sheet made me remember everything on that cheat sheet. I didn't have to look at it. Never did. The only cheat sheet I ever used was a cheat sheet I didn't make. Meaning, I didn't study for that exam. I asked a friend for theirs. They're like, sure, take it. Make a copy. Made a copy. I'm flipping through the cheat sheet, and I couldn't find a single thing to help me because I didn't make it. The ones I made, never used. Same idea for you guys. Now, you guys are hearing a lot of work for what you might think is low benefit. But here's the bottom line. The condensing notes and the best cheat sheet ever is going to save you on your lab work, number one. Number two, I like to play the long game. So at the end of the semester, when you're studying for the final, guess what? If you made the best cheat sheet ever, now you have 4 pages. One for exam 1, one for exam 2, one for exam 3, one for exam 4 to study for the final exam. Is that way easier to study than the 50-plus pages that you're going to have from notes? Heck yes. I promise you. You put in the work, results are going to come. I promise. Okay? So any question so far? Now, I'm going to pause this and not play on. It is on your Canvas homepage, so you guys can click on it anytime you want to. Listen to the rest of it. And heck, play on time and a half speed. And when you hit something, you're like, whoa, 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 I got to hear that again. Go back. Go back to 1 time speed. Is that fair? Okay. So the other thing you asked about was, hey, what else do we need? We need notes. We need assignments. We need due dates. We need exam dates, all of that, right? Great. Notice that this is listed out from week 1 all the way week 16/17. Because your final exam week is actually overlaps in 2 weeks. Because week 16 is only 2 days. You guys have one of those days. It's a Monday and a Tuesday. So if your class will meet Monday, and that was your last day of class. Tuesday, Thursday class will meet Tuesday. That will be the last day of class. Wednesday starts final exam. That's why it's just 16 and then 16/17. Okay? So if you click on week 1, so if you guys are already on my homepage, feel free to click on week 1. This is the week 1 to-do list. So everything in here is what you should be doing in week 1. All right? Assignment's all linked. It's all there. Now, here's the lecture notes. Notice it says lecture video, but you're like, but there's no video. Well, there's a pull-down menu. If you click on the pull-down menu, guess what? Ta-da! Video! If you click on the lecture notes, guess what? Ta-da! A PDF of those notes based on that video on the right. So you open that set of notes, hit the video, you'll be like, oh, look, I can follow along. All right? So those are the lectures. And then when you get to the next section, it says MLM assignments due Saturday at 6 p.m. Boom, click, click, click. Those will bring you right to the MLM assignments once you have your account. Okay? So make sure you go through BibliU, get your account. It will give you your access code, copy, paste, done. Okay? Second assignment, lab work 1. Notice it doesn't say due this date because I have you guys on Monday, Wednesdays. I have another 2 more 1033s on Tuesday, Thursdays. For your class, your lab work assignment is due tomorrow. You're like, but you haven't taught us anything. How are we going to get it done? I'm going to tell you right now, do the best you can. I'm not expecting much, and chances are it's not going to count. And you're like, oh, it doesn't count, so that means I don't have to do it. Trust me, you want to do it the best you can. Because it's going to be a learning tool for me to help you from lab work 2 and on. Okay? So I want you guys to feel this anxiousness that you just got when I said it's due tomorrow. Did anybody just got really kind of like, anybody? Okay. All right. But here's the thing. As the semester goes on, more and more of you guys are going to open it today when it's due tomorrow. So why today you're like, ah! But as the semester goes on, you're like, ah! It's Wednesday, it'll be off, it'll be fine. If you look at my 3 truths, it's going to tell you to open the lab work early. You have Monday class and Wednesday class. As I go through the notes, you can say, hey, I got a question on number 3. Don't know how to do it. I have 1 or 2 answers for you. Let's do it. Or the second reply would be like, that's a great question. We're going to talk about it in notes today. Let's use that as an example. Is that fair? But if you open it today, after class is done, how are you going to raise your hand and ask that question? Now, the reason why I don't mind answering those questions in class is because I'd rather answer it once with all of you guys than answering it 20 times. Does that make sense? Okay? So if you have the question, chances are other people have the same question. Okay? All right. So if I click on the lab work, it gives you directions. It gives you a rubric. It tells you what each of those sections mean. So I have a template here, but you don't have to download these templates. Okay? Just so you know, I'm going to click on lab work 1 here on the very top, just so you guys can see what they are. These are short answer questions, meaning there's no choices, there's no answers, so you're not really sure what the right answers are. However, you can find those right answers. Why? You have ChatGPT. I'm sure some of you guys already use Mathway and PhotoMath. However, I don't mind you using it to find the right answer. I'm just asking you guys, don't copy the work that it gives you. If you take the lazy way out, I'm just going to say it looks like online help. And here's the thing. Yes, it's not a lot of time for you, but you're going to waste your time arguing with me. Number 2 is a waste of my time, because now I got to go look for it. I hate that. Anytime you waste my time, I hate it. Same thing as if I was to waste your time. And then when it gets escalated and we got to bring it to the dean and I can show that, and then you get in trouble and you get in your records, it's not worth it. Not at all worth it. Okay? So it's 10 questions. Well, up to 10 questions. This is only 9 questions. Okay? But again, you guys can ask any of these questions you want during class. I don't have a problem with answering them. Or let's do the notes, and then let's answer that question. Let's see if it answers your question. Okay? Next, so let's look at the template. So again, you do not need to download these templates. You can do it right in your notebook. The second third of the page, you're going to draw a line, what we know. So your work for the problem is on the left-hand side. If it's number 1, I'm going to put number 1. I'm going to put down all the what we know for number 1. Okay? And then if the what we know is longer than the problem, when you're ready to put number 2, you're going to put number 2 with the what we know. So the what we know and the problem should be aligned. Make sense? Okay? If the what we know is longer, then wherever the bottom of what we know is where your problem starts for number 2, and what we know will start there as well. If what we know is shorter than the problem, then whichever is further down, that's number 2. Then you should start the what we know in line with number 2. Okay? So, if you want to look at the rubric, oh, I didn't change this. Oh, I did. I did change this. So the rubric is here. How you get 4, 3, 1, 0 points. Now, notice that the what we know and work and understanding max points is 4. Your scan and quality of work is 2 points, 1, or 0. And down here is the description of what we know. It's a list is where you list the general steps. And notice there's an asterisk on general because I described general. General is the outline the general steps and methods you would use to explain to someone else for solving the similar problem. So I always use poor Susie Q over here as an example. Okay? Susie Q is a student that, poor Susie Q is always getting picked on. Poor Susie Q doesn't belong in this class. She needs your help. And since she has such a kind face, you're like, I'm willing to help. So the question is, how would you explain this problem to Susie Q? Without telling her that she doesn't belong here, without telling her that she's just dumb, right? We're all here to help. So how would you explain it to her? Those are the steps I want you to write down. That's what it means by general. And the general also means that if I was to take those same steps, so in other words, none of the problem itself should be in there. So if the problem says 3, 5, in the general steps, in what we know, shouldn't have a 3, 5 in there. If you want to use x, y, that's certainly fine, which you'll see in the notes as I'm working those out. Okay? And this is why I say to you, chances are lab work 1 won't even be counted. It's going to be a learning process, meaning we're going to look at it as a class and saying, hey, this is what you have on what we know. How do we make this more general? Is that fair? Okay? Because you don't want your first thing that would be graded to be a bad grade, and you're like, I don't even know what I did wrong. Right? That's why chances are it's not even going to be graded. All right? I know these are all in small print for you guys from back there, but again, this is already there anyways, so you guys can certainly read it on your own. And then basically, I want to be able to cut out that what we know and plot it onto the same exact problem and be able to follow those steps and finish a problem. Put it to the next problem, similar problem, do the same problem with those steps. Work on understanding is about the sequence, how you're doing the problem. Does it make sense? Is your calculations correct? Is 2 plus 3 equal to 5 or 2 plus 3 equals to 6? Okay? Do you usually make a silly mistake? The more mistakes you make, the more points you get off. And then quality of scan and handwriting. I know that some of you guys are sloppy writers. Some of you guys are great writers. Sloppy writers, question I have for you is, can you do better in your second draft or your third draft? If you can do better, I'm asking you guys to do better. Just as I came up with this Canvas homepage, I just try to be 1% better every single semester. That's all I try to do. I'm asking you to do the same thing, except week after week, not each semester, okay? And then the quality of scan. If you notice, it's going to tell you that handwriting should be neat on one side of the paper, because some of you guys press a little harder and you guys like to use pen, and paper these days are apparently very cheap. So when you write on the other side, it leaks through. So when you take a scan, it actually comes through, and then I can't read your work on that one side. Okay? If you need paper, let me know. I'll provide paper. Okay? So ensure your scan is clean. No spirals, shadows, fingers, background objects. I do not need to see your couch. I don't need to see your hairy legs. I don't need to see your thumb. Okay? I don't need to see the spiral. Every scan that you make, you can crop it so that the spirals are gone. And then it's also submitting one single PDF. So if you look at my lab work, when I clicked on this lab work, notice that this is 2 pages, but 1 file. I'm not telling you to squeeze all 10 problems into 1 page. Okay? Every scanner you use will allow that to happen. It's 2 things that is either one of 2. One is that you're going to have a button that either says single or batch. Batch means a bunch of them. So scan until you're done, hit done, and it'll combine all of those as one file. The other one that you're going to see is a camera with a plus sign, meaning I want to add a page with the camera. You click on that, then it'll probably let you scan multiple pages until you're done, hit done, and then you can check every single page, edit every single page before you save it and send it. Okay? Any questions on that so far? Example of what we know. So here I've done a problem. I don't think this is your number 3 by any means. And actually, I think this is going to probably be in your lab work 2 maybe. And most likely this is what I'm going to do as well. So I only pick one problem to grade. So you do 10 problems, I pick one problem. The reason why I only pick one problem is because I teach 6 classes. 6 times 30 is 180. If I was to grade all 10 problems, 180 times 10 is 1,800 problems. I would like to have a decent Sabbath, but grading 1,800 problems are going to be impossible. So I'll grade 1. But you'd be like, but Chan, that was the only one I didn't know. Why are you picking on me? I'm not picking on you. I literally pull up Google, search a number generator, and it starts up as 1, 10. I click generate, 5. Okay, I'm grading 5 for everybody. So if you have friends in Tuesday, Thursday classes, I graded the same problem. Now, you're like, but that is like taking a chance here. True. Let's say you got a busy week, and you only got to be able to do 5 problems. You only understood 1, 5, 7, 9. You're like, I might as well just hand it in. Let's hope that he picks one of these. I pick 5. I don't sit there going, minus points because you didn't do number 2 or 3 or 4. You did number 5. I'm grading number 5. Hooray, you did a great job. Because your question could be, but what if I did the other 9 of them correctly out of the 10? Okay. What if you got the other 9 wrong except that one problem? How often in life do we do all the right things, and the one time I happen to not stop at the stop sign is when the cop pulls me over? Does that happen often? Does that happen in life? It does. Right? So a lot of things I do is all related to life. Okay? I can do all the right things, and I'm going to get caught that one time. But here's an example so at least you guys can see that nothing in here is in here. Is there a second problem in here? Yes, there is. Notice that 2, 5 doesn't end up in here whatsoever. And you guys are welcome to read that so you guys can understand. All right. And then how to scan. If you click on that, there's 3 tutorials on those 3 scanners on how to scan. Those videos are very old. It's in the closet. Okay? When me and my fiance broke up, I was in a house that I had to rent. And in the house, there was only a couch and my bed. So if I was to do it anywhere in the living room or the bedroom, it would just echo. So I had to go into the place that had the most amount of noise being deadened, which was a closet. Okay? So please don't judge. And please don't judge the fatness of myself either. Okay? But everything you need to know is right here. The what we know, everything else, all those examples are also written here as well, not just in the rubric. Okay? That will be, so MLM will be self-submitted, self-corrected. I have nothing to do with it. You only do 2 proms, you're like, oh, shoot, I gotta go to work. You go to work, and you come back, you're like, hey, why does it say 2%? Well, when you go back in and you do more, that percentage will raise. Because it's self-submitting, self-correcting. I have nothing to do with it. Okay? The only time that the grade is solidified is when the due date hits. When Saturday 6 p.m. hits, whatever you got done is what you got done. Now your grade is solidified. Okay? Lab work, however, is submitted through Canvas. So when you click on Lab Work 1, if you guys do it on your computer right now, on the top right-hand corner will say Start Assignment. When you click Start Assignment, on the bottom, you can choose a file, attach that PDF file, and submit assignment. Okay? Then I'll get it, and I'll look at it. And then, don't forget! So as I said, attendance verification should be done first. Everybody should get that done so that you guys are verified with financial aid so you guys can get financial aid money that you guys are owed. Second thing says you may want to load this file. So download these 2 files, open Notebook LM, drop those 2 files in there. And once it comes up, we can start asking the questions. And you should reply based on that. If you want to create your own podcast and listen to that, you're welcome to. Sometimes those podcasts can be as short as 10 minutes. Sometimes those podcasts can be as long as 22 minutes. I listened to about 7 of them before I selected this one to upload. Okay? And then third, notice it says, Exam 1. What's the date of your exam? Do you think it's going to be January 29th or January 30th? Because you're in the Monday, Wednesday class. Yeah? So therefore, that's when it's due. I mean, when you have it. Fair? Okay? So that is week 1. So everything in week 1 is right here. Now, if you're like, you know what? It's the winter time. There's too many germs flying around. I don't want to come to class. I don't want to go on Zoom because I don't know. I just don't want to, have all this radiation coming from the phone into my face. Okay. Everything is there. You guys could essentially do this as an online course if you guys wanted to. Stay home, watch the video, do the homework, hand in the lab work on time, come in for the exam or via Zoom. Done. Right? Now, have I had students in the past that have done that? Yes. In fact, one student had me in 0057, which is the class before this, came to every single class, listened to every single video, because that's where I run 0057. 1033, she came like once a week. When it came to college algebra, she never showed up except for the days of the exam. She aced all 3 classes. If you feel like you have the ability to do that, feel free to do that. Attendance does not count as a grade for me. Like I said, I treat you guys like adults. Just like if I have a department meeting, and I choose to not say anything, I don't get called out for it. I do have to show up though, so. All right. Now, after today's lecture, what will happen is that in here, one of these will get interrupted, and you'll see live lecture, what's today's date? January 8th. Okay? And it would be posted in here, and then whatever I've written will be here. It doesn't correlate necessarily because right now I've just been talking. Haven't wrote anything down yet. But whatever I write down, those notes will be there. Okay? Any questions for me at all? We're okay? Nothing severe? Nothing at all? Are we really, really sure? Yes, sir. In BibliU, I believe, so if you had for the students that's first time here, you probably never had a Pearson account. So a few years ago, we used to have, what was it called? I can't remember. I can't remember what that was called. But now it's called My Lab and Mastering. So whoever had those old accounts have to create a brand new account. Okay? Now you're welcome to use that account with your personal email or with your school email. Except BibliU. Because BibliU, what will happen is that essentially it's essentially the courseware is already with the tuition. Okay? So when you go through BibliU, what it will do is it will give you the access code right there. When you go into Pearson, if you don't have an account, because what it will do is it will connect you with your name because you're on my roster. It will connect your name with that, and it should match up. So I don't know if you have to necessarily create the account. It should already, quote unquote, create an account for you. And I'm going to guess it might be your school email. Because I'm guessing BibliU doesn't look at the school and say, give me that person's personal email, right? So chances are I'm going to guess that you don't need to. But give me that information when you get to it. Okay? Any other questions? I know I don't know all the answers. And yes, I do make mistakes. So if you find a link that's not working, let me know. I'm just human. So no questions. We're good. Are we sure? All right. Let's get out your notes. Yes. Just go. I can't help you. I can't hold your hand. All right. So first thing we're going to talk about is graphing. Yes, sir. I have one better. You're welcome. No problem, dude. So first of all, with graphing is that we got to talk about the coordinate system. We have the x-axis, and we have the y-axis. X-axis goes left and right, and the y-axis goes up and down. Where they intersect, this is called the origin. The coordinate point for the origin is 0, 0. From the origin, if you were to go right, you get positive x values. And if you were to go left, you get negative x values. If you were to go up, you get positive y values. And if you go down, you get negative y values. So if I was to plot a point, like right here, this point here would be 2, 3. Because from the origin, I have to go right 2, positive 2, and go up 3, positive 3. Each point that you name is usually in a x, y. So x value always goes first, y value always goes second. Similarly, if I was to plot this point right here, what would the value of that point be? I have to go left 4 and up 3. Very good. Wow, you guys are so good. So loud, too. Man, love it. What about this point right here? What would this be? Going from the origin. Awesome. And let's do this point right here. Let me help. Excellent. Now, I want you guys to notice that the x-axis and the y-axis cuts this coordinate plane into 4 different regions, right? You got your top right region, top left region, bottom left region, bottom right region. We call these regions quadrants. In fact, the top right quadrant is called quadrant 1. We shorthand this to a Roman numeral 1. So if you write Roman numeral 1 I know that you're talking about quadrant 1. So in quadrant 1 is where I had 2, 3. What do you notice about all the x values in quadrant 1? They're all what? Positive. And all the y values? Also positive. So in quadrant 1, the x values are positive and the y values are positive. Because in order to get to that quadrant, I got to go right and I got to go up. Makes sense. And then from there, go in a counterclockwise direction. This right here would be called quadrant 2. Hence a Roman numeral 2. And what do we notice about the x value and the y value in that quadrant? X values are, y values are. Awesome. And we continue counterclockwise. This would be quadrant 2. Sorry, 3. Like, what the heck are you talking about? And what do we know about the x value and the y value? Beautiful. Oh, yep, beautiful. Negative x, negative y. And then, last but not least, x value is and y value is. There we go. And with that being said, what should your follow-up question be? We got the quadrants. Positive x, positive y. Negative x, positive y. Negative x, negative y. Positive x, negative y. But what if, what's that follow-up question going to be? What if it's right here? Is that in a quadrant? It's not, is it? It's like in between. It's a fence sitter. Right? What if it's not in the quadrant? Then what do we call it? Great question. So glad you guys asked this question. So what we call this, very creative name here, by the way. Notice it's on the x-axis, is that right? This is what we call the x-intercept. Because it crosses the x-axis, we call it the x-intercept. Now, here's my question, though. Can you guys tell me what point that is? Because negative 5 was right here, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9. So how would you call this point? Negative 9, 0. Right? I went left 9, went up and down none. Negative 9, 0. Okay. What if I took this point and put it here? Comma, 0. Okay. So what do you notice that she just said? What did she kept on saying that was the same? Which value was that? The y value, wasn't it? So for all x-intercepts, y is always equal to 0. That's an important fact that you guys got to remember. What if I was to pick this point right here? What do you think we're going to call that one? What's the name we're going to call it, first of all, before we name it, before we say the coordinates of it? Man, you guys are good. And what do we know about all the y-intercepts? X is always going to equal to 0. Are we okay? All right. So out of all of this, guys, I'm going to tell you right now that I think the quadrants in terms of what the value of x's and what the value of y's are is pretty easy to remember, right? Because if you just close your eyes and go, I'm at the origin, I move right, I move up, positive, positive. I move left, I move up, negative, positive, right? Applying a point, you guys are pretty used to. So the biggest point here that is, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just like tell you to pound it in your head, is going to be the x-intercept, y is always equal to 0, y-intercept, x is always going to equal to 0. And the scary part about that is that that is going to stay with you for the remainder of your math career. Meaning from here, if you go to college algebra, that's going to pop up again. Okay? All right. All right. So the other thing that you guys need to understand is being able to make a story up when you have a graph. So if I put that as 40, what do you think each mark is going to be value as? It's going to be 10, right? That means each one of these are going to be 10. Make sense? So let's go down here. Do we know what those stands for? Come on. Months. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Okay? So let's say I do this. What kind of story can you tell me? Now, you don't actually have to make up stories. What you actually need to be able to do is read a story and be able to connect this graph to that story. So what story could you make up if we were to make up a story? Since I put the months in there, the hours, so the 40 is used, you guys would think it's like hours that you will work, right? So let's put down hours per week. It looks like mints. Should be months. How about hours that you work from season versus out of season? Because this only happens in Florida, really. It doesn't happen anywhere else, only in Florida, right? So about October is when snowbird starts to come into town. The job is going to say, I'm going to start increasing your hours. November, you're working full-time hours, right? You're going to be, oh my goodness, I'm swamped at work. And then at about April and Easter, people start going back home. So you're starting to lose hours, less customers in the restaurant. And then May to October, you're kind of like, hopefully I saved up my money when I made a lot, right? Because now I'm half the time. Makes sense, right? What if I did this? How many hours did I work from May to October? 0, right? So a story could be told by saying, hey, you know what? Let's say someone's dad has been working, and in April he hurt his back. But the boss is like, I really need you. So he tries to work through it, but he keeps on working less and less throughout the month of April, right? And finally at May, in the beginning of May, he goes, you know what? I can't handle it anymore. It just hurts too bad. Boss goes, you know what? Take some time off. When you're ready to come back, come on back. So he takes a few months off. October, he's like, I think I'm ready. He's like, well, I'm going to work you into the schedule. So I'm going to slowly increase your hours for the next month. And if you feel up to it, then we'll keep you at full time. Right? Does that make sense? All right? To be able to see a graph and be able to read it. Okay? Let's look at another graph. So each mark on the y-axis is how many? $2,000, right? Because 4 marks make 8,000, so each mark must be 2,000. And each mark on the x-axis is how many years? 2 years. So let's say that this was a copier. Okay? One of those copier printers that we have here. Let's say, so how much did they buy it for? 8,000, right? Because year 0 will be when it was bought, right? Okay. How much value did it lose after, ooh, wait a minute. How much value did it lose after the first year? 1,000. Try again. 500. Because if each mark that I put is $2,000, right? That means after the second year, it would be at 7,000. So after the first year, it must have lost $500. Make sense? At the 10th year, how much was the value of that copier? $3,000? Excellent. So you guys can read. Awesome. Love it. Any questions there? So be careful of the question that is being asked. All right? Okay. Let's talk about functions. So functions. So one of the things that I talked about was a coordinate point, x comma y. Right? Well, x comma y is actually a relation. What's the relation between the two? Well, here's the thing. X is what we know as the input, which we really call the domain. So x values is the input, we call domain. The y is the output, which we called the range. So this is why when you guys were in high school, they say to you the x value is independent and the y value is dependent. Right? And you're probably going, why do they keep on saying that? What does that even mean? If you think about this, when you guys had to make a chart, a table to graph, they'll say pick any x's you want. The reason why you can is because it's independent. It doesn't need anything. Think about it. Your dishwasher. You can put anything you want in it. Some appropriate, some inappropriate. Dishes, appropriate. Cat, inappropriate. Right? But you can throw it in there if you want to. I'm not sure if that's considered harming the cat, but it'd be a very clean cat at the end. And the output is dependent on what you put in. That's why it's a dependent. That's why you can't just pick any y values you want. Because the y is dependent on what x values you put in. You put in dishes, output is clean dishes. Input is cat, output would be angry cat. Make sense? Or a drowned cat, one or the other. Because I don't know why dishwashers need 4 hours to clean dishes. But if you were in a dishwasher for 4 hours, you'd be angry too. Okay? So, let's say that we're given yes, that's a 5. So first of all, let's talk about these squiggly brackets, because you're wondering what those are. Just so you guys know, these squiggly brackets is called set notation. Meaning, I'm giving you a set, in this case, a set of points. Okay? Now, if you can't draw those squiggly brackets nicely, just use squiggly brackets. I'm okay with that. As long as it doesn't look like an E or a 3, I'm okay. All right? So, in this case, in this given problem, I want you guys to write down what the domain is and what the range is. While I use the little boys' room. And I'm going to keep the mic here because I don't think you guys at home need to hear me tinkle. Go. Just look at what the definition of domain is and what the definition of range is. How do we do? All right, so the so-called domain is all the possible x values, right? So for us, the x values, we know it's going to be -5, -3, 1, and 3. And for the range, it's going to be -3, 1, and 6. So notice I didn't write the 1 twice. Just like your shopping list. You want 3 bananas to be brought home. Are you going to write down banana, banana, banana? Probably not. Okay? So you might be given points and having to list the domain and range. However, you might be given a graph. Actually, let's do it this way. And here you might also be told to give the domain and range. So what's my domain and what's my range? So notice that the first part I was given points. Right? So, and the points, oh, just so you guys understand something, if you guys decide to be on Zoom, okay, I do expect that your camera is on and your face is showing. All right, I want to see everybody's beautiful face, right, from hairline to chin. I want to see it all, okay? Now, I don't need you to be here, okay, because that's personal space, because if I did that to you, you'd be like, whoa, right? So, but make sure that your camera's on when we're going, all right? All right, so notice that when I gave points, if I was to graph that, it would literally be dot, 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 nothing connected. That's the reason why when you gave domain, it's like the x value, the x value, the x value, the x value, the y value, the y value, the y value, the y value. But because there's a line, that means the x value continues on going. Okay? So I have two ways of looking at this. I have a graph that looks like this, right? My hands are where the arrows are. I have one or two ways. One is if I put a spotlight up above me and I cast a shadow that only points left and right because the domain is all x values goes left and right. Is that right? So if I want to cast a shadow that only points left and right, then I'll cast a shadow from above and it'll put it on the floor. What would the shadow look like? It would look something like this, pointing left, pointing right. Right? So I have an arrow that's pointing to, what is that called? Way to the left. To and beyond. In that case, negative infinity. And to the right, positive infinity. Make sense? The other way of looking at it is saying, you know what? I don't like this all diagonal. Let's just make it point left and right. Same idea. Range is everything that is y values. Y values go up and down. I'm going to put a spotlight right there, cast a shadow to this wall. Right? That shadow is going to point up and down, so it's going to look something like this. Is that right? Same thing. Point straight down to the bottom, negative infinity. Point straight up to positive infinity. Same thing with just moving it. It's going to point like this, negative infinity, positive infinity. So in this case, my domain is negative infinity to positive infinity. And my range is going to be negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay? So I'm going to do one more. I know time is up. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to have to adjust your assignments, by the way. Don't worry. Because this is where you're going to have questions. So if I have this, excuse me, if I was to cast a shadow from above, what would the shadow look like? Would it look like the same as if I was to squish this? So it only pointed left and right? So in other words, top and bottom, doing this. Right? Just like if I took a piece of paper and it would just look like this, right? So the shadow is going to look the same. So the shadow of this is going to look something like this. Does that make sense? So over on the left, isn't that -1? And on the right, isn't that 3? Do we agree? Here comes the question. Let's finish the domain and now answer the question. If I was to take this and cast a shadow over here or flatten it out, isn't it going to cast a shadow like this? and this is going to be -1, and this is going to be 2. Is that right? And your question is going to be what? What's your question going to be? Look at these two. What's your question going to be? Why is one parentheses one? Why is the other square bracket? Is that an appropriate question? The reason why it's square bracket is because you actually hit the number. You touched it. It touches -1. It touches 3. It touches -1. It touches 2. Agreed? The ones above goes to infinity, as Buzz Lightyear say, to infinity and beyond, because you can't really touch infinity. So since you don't touch it, it's a parentheses. If you do touch it, it's a square bracket. Fair enough? Okay? Now, clearly not everything was taught, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and push the next lesson to the next week, including the homework assignment will be pushed to the next week. Okay? Again, the lab work, guys, look at the rubric. Do the best you can. That's all I can ask for. Is that fair? So, ladies and gentlemen, please have a wonderful, blessed weekend. Please be safe. Love you guys. See you guys on Monday. Later.